All right, so this is part two. Tips and advice for constructing or assembling your transformational diet. Part two. The other one, yeah, it went on, but that's the problem. It went on and on and on. It was way too long. I cut it off at a convenient spot that I thought would be not so terrible. Nobody wants to sit through some kind of hour long bullshit like that. So I'm going to do this second half of it now from here. Try to be a little bit more concise, which I'm not doing so far, am I? So here we go. So basically, you want to get your numbers. You want to hit your numbers every day. You want to, by the end of the day, you lay down and go to bed. You want to have gotten all of the nutrition, which compromises your daily intake, as directed by your diet, whatever this diet plan, this meal plan is that you've constructed. You want to get all that food in by the end of the day. You want to hit all those numbers. What numbers? Well, if you're running protein at 60%, 60% of your total calories in every day are coming from protein, and you maybe want to run your fats at 20% and run your carbohydrates at 20%, then you will assess that after the first 2 weeks. You'll run that for 2 weeks and you'll assess where you are, what's been happening. Then you can micromanage, you can fine tune things. You may need to go down with the fat and up with the carb. You may need to go up with the fat and down with the carb. You may need to just cut some down on one period. And if you do that, then you're going to have to make the decision based on how well you are observing your feedback or monitoring feedback, assessing that as to whether you have to replace those calories that you've just subtracted. Do you want to play with calories, or are you just trying to change ratios? Now, if you have taken calories away from some of the fat, or if you've taken calories away from some of the carbs, I doubt you'll take it away from the carbs. Some people are, especially females. I'll tell you what, I've seen females that are very carb sensitive, and then another woman may be very fat sensitive. I've seen women, and I know women, who they need to run the fats higher and the carbs lower to get what they need, but they're all running the protein highest. Or it could be the converse as far as carbs to fat thing. That's what I'm getting at. So if you pull calories out of one, if you're not going to, between the two, balance it out, you're just going to pull some out of one, then you may want to replace those calories, make that up by turning that protein up a little bit more to offset that caloric loss, because you may not want to lose those calories. It all depends on what happened, what your body's telling you, what's going on. Then we got to talk about water. We can't get away without talking about hydration. Hydration. During this period in time, when this commences, I think you should shoot for a gallon of water a day. Now, you know how I feel about water. That's how I feel about water. It's very important. Does everybody need a gallon of water every day? Particularly these first world countries where you're living a pretty soft existence in relative comparison to previous times or someplace else in the world where life could be a lot rougher in many ways. Do you really need a gallon of water a day? No, not really. But during this period, we're looking to you're challenging homeostasis, which is a balance that the body has figured out. A balance the body's been able to achieve with whatever you've been throwing at it, or if you've been pretty consistent, or whatever groove or place you've fallen into where your day-to-day is pretty much, there's not a lot of fluctuation in it, but there's really no plan. It's just fallen into this, whatever it has. And that it's just one day after the next day after the next day with a little variation. And your body's learned to adjust to that. If you're not losing weight, you're not gaining weight, your body is adjusted to that. That's what the normal standard is. You're forever challenging that standard, that normalcy, when you want to make your body do something different. If you want your body to react and have to adapt, you have to throw it off balance. You have to throw a monkey wrench into that homeostasis. And if you turn that water up, a gallon a day during this period of time, a gallon of water every day. So between the time you've arisen in the morning, opened your eyes, to the time you close your eyes to go to bed at night, you want to consume a gallon of water a day. I think it's very important for a number of reasons. Number one, a well-hydrated, fully hydrated muscle is a bigger, rounder, fuller muscle, period. That's just aesthetics, but also a very well-hydrated muscle is a safer muscle. It is capable of a more powerful contraction with less risk of injury. The risk of injury is greatly diminished. So there's a number of reasons you want that water there. The other thing is that most people, their skin, there are a lot of people that they're puffy because they're holding water, because their body is storing water subcutaneously. Your body stores water in 3 different compartments, basically. And the subcutaneous route is what you can visually see. When you look at a person and they look puffy, bloated, yeah, they could have high levels of estrogen. They could have hormonal issues, imbalances there that is normal now to the body. The body's found its homeostasis. It's a fuzzy, warm place with all of that as it is, but it's still, you could still have a higher amount of estrogen, and you're more sensitive to the estrogen. And that can be from your diet, that can be genetically, that can be all kinds of stuff, but there's things you can do to try to thwart that. And if you go with the gallon of water a day thing during this period, with all the other turmoil, that's how your body's interpreting what's going on. It's so different from the everyday norm now, and you can sustain that and be consistent, because consistency is what gets the job done. So if you can remain consistent to that, you get that gallon of water a day. Within 2 weeks' time, most people, the majority of people that I have seen with a gallon of water a day, including me, a gallon of water a day, in 2 weeks' time, they're going to drop additional body weight just in the form of fluid, water that they're going to lose. They're going to begin to not look as puffy. They may tighten up the skin. I've seen people have drastic results from that, because the body finally says, okay, Jesus, I have so much water. We have so much water that we don't need to store this water anymore under the skin like this. We don't need to hang on to all this water. There's plenty of water. And as it starts to release this, you're going to see that on a scale, and you'll see it in your appearance. Now, initially, it may not look as drastic in your appearance within that 2 week time frame, but you will see it on the scale, and it can be drastic, depending on how much water you're holding. You were holding. It can be drastic. I have seen, the most I've ever seen is I saw a person drop 14 pounds in the first 2 weeks. Now, was that all solely because they were drinking a gallon of water a day? Probably not solely because of that, right? Because the diet, the thermogenic effect of the food, the body's not used to having to work and fire itself back up and to metabolize all of this, all of these more expensive, as far as calorie burning, harder to digest, just require more work food. When I say harder to digest, I'm saying that it's more expensive. And coin of the realm is always calories. So in conjunction with that, yeah, I have seen one person in particular drop 14 pounds in a 2 week time frame, first 2 weeks. It's very normal for somebody to drop 7 pounds. Probably that first 2 weeks, if everything's right, if you came out that gate with a good starting point, good launch pad, you get that gallon of water a day, and on top of the rest of it, most likely you're going to drop 7 pounds, whatever. You may drop the most weight in the first 2 weeks, as far as condensed time frame. And then you may even out and level out to where you're dropping 4 pounds every 2 weeks, which is 2 pounds a week, 5 pounds or whatever every 2 weeks. So you're going to be in a good place and can consistently keep that rolling along. We're not looking to drop mad amounts of weight. Now, can we yeah, we could go crazy and drop more weight, but again, there's a tipping point there where it becomes, in my opinion, if you want to end up at the end of the day, you want to not just get fat off, but you want to look good, you want to look improved, you want to look, I don't know, you want your overall shape and appearance to be improved, not only because you've lost fat, but because there's muscle, there's shape. Muscle is going to define what your shape's like under that fat, really. So as that fat comes off, we want to hold on to as much muscle, lean tissue as we can. We don't want to sacrifice all that. Whole point in the thermogenic approach. We want to generate, build muscle, develop more muscle. We don't want to lose muscle for sure. So you don't want to diet all the fat off and then you look lighter, but you've lost muscle along with the fat. So we want to try and keep as much of the muscle, all of the muscle, if possible, depending on your individual circumstances and what else is going on. We want to gain some muscle. We want to lose the fat. And this is, for me, I found this to be the best way, the most advantageous, the way you're going to have the best shot of achieving that. Unless you're doing crazy things with putting foreign substances in your body, a lot of, mumbo jumbo voodoo shit. And I'm not a huge risk taker, especially at this age. That's how I'm at this age and still look half-assed decent. So get that water going. It's going to work in conjunction with the diet. And then within all of that, you have to remember that you're going to have to supplement or augment with some type of vitamin supplement, a good, solid vitamin supplement. Not, I'm going to go so far as to say that, in my personal opinion, your general, everyday, normal person's vitamin that they can just go into Walmart and buy and everything, I'm going to say that, to me, that's insufficient, as it's prescribed to be taken, because in this period now, with all the water on board, putting your body through the big shock to your system, and the way that you have reorganized what you're eating in the course of the day, that there's going to be holes just in and of itself. If there weren't previously, there are going to be here. You're going to look better, you're going to feel better, everything's going the right direction, but in your body you're going to have deficiencies, and those are all about micronutrients. So you need to replace them. You need to make sure that that's covered. So now you already know what I like. You already know that I'm a huge proponent of sport formula. Huge proponent of sport formula. Powdered, raw ingredients, cold processed, all this other stuff. Because pasteurization, when they produce these products, even in foods, you go to the grocery store, look at orange juice. Look at orange juice. How many orange juices do you look at that say on there, vitamin C enriched? Enriching with vitamin C, or enriching with this, or other foods, enriching with this particular vitamin or whatever, right? Or this nutrient. Why do you think they do that? Because they're generous? Because they want to spend more money in the process and make less profit? No. They do that because the pasteurization, when it goes through that process, as for an example with orange juice, it strips the nutrition out of the orange juice to such a degree that the FDA would not allow it to be labeled as orange juice. It would have to be like orange drink. Couldn't be considered juice, actual juice, without a minimum amount of micronutrients present. Minimum amount, vitamin C in this case, if we're talking about, it's vitamin C enriched. So they've stripped it all out. Now they're going to add it back in. Unnaturally, they're going to add it back in, and they're not going to, do you think that they're going to be overly generous with it? No, they're going to put in enough that it hits that minimum level that they can label it as orange juice, and then they're going to sell it to you. So, what all is there to say in that? I don't know. For me, that's enough. So these are things that you need to be aware of. Pasteurization and heat, in many products that are processed in the grocery store have nutrients, and a lot of that value is stripped out of that product. And to the degree that it's not even permissibly allowed to be called a juice again anymore, unless they add a minimum back. So the thing with sport formula, because it's cold processed, raw natural ingredients, live enzymes and shit, that it has everything it's supposed to have without a whole bunch of hoopla. It hasn't been stripped down, and I can tell it. All right, what you can feel, I don't know, but I'm a person that have been doing this for so long. I've been shredded, I've been lean, I've been not so lean, I've been big, I've been smaller. Whenever at will, whatever I want to do, I know how to design a process or program to be able to achieve that through nutrition, through training. But I'm going to tell you what, largely the biggest part of it is the nutrition. So if I'm putting all this effort out there, my sweat equity, which to me is just the same as money, if I'm putting all that effort out there in that sweat equity, I want some insurance. So I don't want to have to think about it. Like I said, I'm not using a great variety of foods because I want to be able to, when I plug things in, pull something out, plug something else in, I want to see what is causing what effect and know that. So I'm not using the greatest variety. And while I am a big advocate of vegetables and fruits, I may not be eating as many. So I don't want to have to think about that. So if I have sport formula on board, just one serving a day, you don't have to worry about that. It's a no-brainer. I know I'm covered. I know I'm covered with that because I'm actually thinking, okay, did I hit my protein? Did I hit my fats? Did I hit my carbohydrate numbers? Now if I'm going to throw in there that am I getting all the micros I need from whole foods that I'm eating? If it gets to be too complicated and too much, this is not my entire life story. I have other things to think about in the course of the day. So while this is very serious, it's a huge tool for me. So I use sport formula. Now I use it twice a day because when I'm doing something like that, I'll have the sport formula at nighttime before I go to bed, before I go to sleep, and I'll also include it in my pre-workout drink. So I have a serving in my pre-workout and I have a serving at nighttime when I go to bed. And I can feel the difference. Now, because I'm so familiar with what my body does, how it processes nutrition, when I change certain foods, I know how to respond. So when I've got everything on track, I can absolutely tell the difference with the sport formula. I have more energy, I feel better, I actually get more restful sleep. So I'm not promising you that you're going to, if you use sport formula, that you're going to say, wow, I can tell that. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what your level of experience is. I don't know how much you know about how your body responds to nutrition. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Many, many people do feel the difference. Many, many people have tried sport formula and won't use anything else. I'm one of those people. So, in fact, we get a good deal with sport formula. If you go and purchase sport formula from the company, Sport Formula, you'll be able to use discount code GWAC, GWAC, and you'll get a deal. Now, how much of a deal you're going to get, I don't know. You know what I mean? You know how I roll with this thing. This is like a hobby thing to me. I don't do a whole bunch of endorsements. I don't do a whole bunch of money deals. Nothing like that. So I've been using the sport formula a long time. You can go back and see all the videos I have of it. Now that I'm on the topic talking about it, if you use the code GWAC, sometimes Jimmy gives us, he's the owner, he's an awesome guy, great dude. He has done so many different things. I mean, there's been times when you could get two for the price of one. There's been times when you got it free, actually, and you just paid shipping. There's literally been times when you didn't pay a damn thing and could get one. So I'm not saying that could be the case. Maybe you'll get 20% off, maybe you'll get 15% off. I don't know. There's been times when he's made available to me tons of sport formula product, and I've just given them away, lots of it. So I'll probably make a separate video about this sport formula, but I will plug in a shot here so that you see what it is and correct spelling and jazz like that. Because the only reason I'm saying so much about this is I think it's an awesome product, and it's just one less thing you have to worry about. It's a huge thing you don't have to worry about. You want to be covered on these micronutrients. By the way, sport formula is endorsed and used solely by a lot of college teams and professional teams, sports teams. I mean, you can go to the website, read all this. I'm not boned up on all this because I'm not a salesman. I'm just telling you that I'm getting ready to do this transformation, and it's something that I use that it absolutely it's worth its weight, for sure, as an inclusion. So, what you do is what you do. This is what I do. Next issue. Next thing, where are we at? We got the water down. We basically have the food down. I don't want to get into the workout yet. I don't want to save a separate video for that, but I will say that the nutritional end of it, the actual consumption of the food, is where people usually trip up. The workout part is not as complicated, not as involved as the food. The food is and it's not really complicated, really, when you sit down and you have a plan and you get going on it. It's more homework. There's more you have to do to stay on top of the ball, because you're going to have to food prep. If you have to be out and about, you have to go out and leave the house for work. You got to do this, that, moving around. You're going to need the food prep. You're going to have to be able to plan on, know what you need, and when you go to your grocery store, have enough of it so that you can maintain consistency. Consistency is going to see you succeed or fail bigger than anything else. If you get it down and you have a good diet plan and it's working out, the next thing you're going to need is consistency. If you can't trip up. Once you get that going, you don't want to trip up, because if you trip up, then that's going to impact and influence the result you're going to get in that little window there, where every 2 weeks you're going to look and read the feedback. It's going to throw a wrench into that a little bit. So that could become extrapolated, and you're going to get by, you're going to get over on it. I mean, you're still going to come through. If you're not as consistent, if it's only once in a while, can you still make progress? Yeah, you'll probably still make awesome progress if you have never been this regimented. But if you really, for me, like I said, for my sweat equity, if I want to do something and get my head wrapped around it, then I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do it all correctly. Because if I get lax, then it makes it easier for me to get lax again in another aspect of it, which brings me to the things that you should cut completely out. Basically, if it's not on the diet plan, you don't eat it. It's not even, you don't have to think about it. If it's not on the diet plan, you don't eat it. The diet plan should be exact and tell you what you're eating meal to meal. Now, you may have a case, once you're comfortable, you got a handle on this, where you may have a couple meals in the course of the day where you could switch those meals around. That may be a case. Now, you may want to have certain meals arranged a certain way because you find that you have more productive workouts and you just feel better with a particular meal to be the meal before your workout or what have you, right? So that's all an individual thing, again, based on the feedback from your body. So you can make those decisions. But stuff like sugar, oh, well, can I put sugar in my coffee still? I like sugar in my coffee. No, you can't put sugar. You can't put. Are you serious? I mean, do you really want to do this? How many compromises do you want to make? It's like sweat equity. You're putting out that sweat equity. You want to get paid. You want to get paid. You don't want to shorten that check, right? You don't want to shorten those returns, cut into those returns because you got to have sugar in your coffee or whatever have you. That seems like a small thing. It's not a small thing. Processed sugar is garbage. That white processed sugar is total garbage. How do I feel about sugar substitutes? Listen, you're going to have to make that on a case-by-case basis. That's your call. That's your business. Myself, don't mess with them. Why? Because there have been a couple instances where I have checked. I do check my blood sugar. I do much of the shit that I know about nutrition and my pre-workout strategy, where I'm using the Carbolin. All of that's based on feedback from my body that I got by using a little glucose meter. So it's not something I do every day. It's not something I continue to do. I don't need to do it. I know what I know, and I just continue to employ what I've already learned. But that comes from. And there have been sugar substitutes that I have used, and it shows up on my glucose meter that my body still thinks it's sugar. You know, it still thinks it's sugar. So, you know, now I'm not going to get into, you know, nitpicking and well, how about this one? Well, what about that? Well, what about this? Once I saw that, I just said, you know what, I'm not going to go, and again, overcomplicate it, because there's enough I need to pay attention to for my due diligence. So, you know what, let's not mess with any of that. Now, you have to make your own judgment. If you want to have some kind of sugar substitute, go ahead. Me, personally, I don't need to have any of that sweet shit in this time frame. This time frame is about work. This time frame is about trying to accomplish something. And I want to give myself every fighting chance, every little teeny chance I can. So the sugar, from day one, that has to go. That shit's got to go. And in fact, when I know I'm getting ready to do something like this, I cut this shit out a week ahead of time. That way it helps me get more into the groove of understanding that, hey, it's real now, and there's a lot of shit that I can't eat anymore, right? So that comes out there. I'll tell you another thing, alcohol. Alcohol. Everybody probably knows I enjoy bourbon. I like good bourbon. And it's subjective. Good bourbon is what to who. I like good bourbon. Do I sit around and get stone drunk drinking bourbon? No, never. But I do like to occasionally have a shot of bourbon. I may have 2 shots of bourbon before I go to bed sometimes. I may not have another shot for months and months. You know, so that's however it goes. It depends on what bottle I have and how good it is, what it is. Lately, I've been branching out when I go into the liquor store and buying other things. I've been drinking a little bit lately. I've had some decent beer. I'm not a big beer person, but I've had some pretty good beers. I've had some of those Jack and Cola drinks already mixed up. You know, I've been just drinking, just enjoying myself, but I'm getting ready to do this thing. And when I do this, then it's a flip of a switch. None of that shit is part of it. It's not on the meal plan. If it's not on the meal plan, it doesn't get consumed. If it's not going to get consumed, it's not going to be in the house. I mean, if it happens to be in the house, it's not like that means I'm going to go off my diet and I'm going to do it. But why am I going to go out and expend money? Why am I going to get any more of that crap? You know, let's get rid of that shit. Sugar, obvious garbage. You know, I don't expect you to like throw a bag of sugar down the drain. If you have it, put it up in the cupboard, just leave it alone, let it live there. It's not bothering you, don't bother it. But if you have like cake around the house, you have cupcakes, you have sweets, you have whatever the hell it is, don't buy that shit. Ice cream, if that shit is going to call out to you at night and you're going to break down and get weak in a moment of weakness, you're going to go have it, throw it in the garbage. Get it out of the house. Tell you what, if you're really overweight and you need to lose a lot of body fat, that shit should not be in your house. It should not be in the house. You should not see that shit anywhere. Now, if you're in a family situation, there are other people in the house too, there are kids in the house, they eat this kind of stuff. Well, maybe you need to look at how they look. If they're looking good and they're doing fine, you know, let them do their thing, man. Don't deprive them of their childhood, you know. Let them do what they do. That doesn't mean you need to do it. But if you look at them and it looks like, maybe they're putting on a little unnecessary body fat too, you know, you have the keys to the kingdom, right? So don't go out and buy that shit anymore. Slow that shit down. But as for you, whatever you do with anybody else, that's your business. But you, no more of that. Have you not had enough of it? Isn't that a contributor to have gotten you where you are? So, no, if it's not on a meal plan, it doesn't get consumed. You don't put it down your gullet if it's not on a meal plan. Simple as that. People ask that kind of stuff. Well, what about sugar in the morning of my coffee? Is it on a meal plan? Does it say sugar anywhere on there? No. Now, what you can use are, if you want to use things to flavor your food so it's not really bland, basically, as a rule of thumb, if it's hot, if it's spicy, it's good to go. If it's hot and spicy, it's good to go. Why? We're talking thermogenics. If it's hot and spicy, it's good to go. Cinnamon. It includes cinnamon. Cinnamon's good. That's a thermogenic. Salsa. Salsas are good. Salsas are okay. There are certain things are freebies. A lot of your leafy green stuff. Leafy green kale. Leafy green baby spinach. These things are freebies. You can eat all of that you want. Now, I know you're probably saying, oh, wow, that's great. You know, I know it's not what you're going to crave, but if you're hungry, which you shouldn't be, you might have difficulty eating all the food once you up that protein and you break it all up into these servings. You're going to find out probably that you feel like you're eating a good bit of food, really. But if you are still hungry, you can eat all of the leafy greens that you want. You can flavor your food with, sauces and, cinnamon and any kind of spicy stuff. Tabasco sauce, hot sauce, whatever. Anything hot, anything spicy is all good. Peppers, pretty much vegetables are a safe thing. That's a safe zone pretty much. And again, if you want to make sure, because you're going to be, did I get the water? Check. Did I get enough protein? Check. I hit my numbers with my fats and my carbohydrates. And the reason you got to watch those numbers, you don't want to go over those numbers. Check, check. Okay, sport formula. Okay, now I'm not having to monitor every little crumb of, because I don't count vegetables. I do not count vegetables. I don't count vegetables. Vegetables are in there. Pretty much they can't hurt you. They can only help you. So I don't count vegetables. I eat vegetables. What you put on vegetables, if you're going to put cheese all over your cauliflower or whatever have you, or your broccoli, not a good idea. I know they have fat-free stuff out there. If you're going to screw up and you're going to have cheese or you're going to have something else that's fatty, if you can find a fat-free version, if you've got to have mayonnaise, if you can find fat-free version, listen, you're better off. Should you eat it? No. But you're better off to eat that than to break down and eat the whole shit, the shit that's really bad for you. All right, I had to switch this off for a second because Rob just came in anyway. Wanted to hear about what was happening with him today. So I went and got this really quick because they have a new look. They have new containers and labeling on Sport Formula now. This is the latest version. And although, all right, first off, if you're not familiar with it, it comes in a powder in a tub. You can use it this way, or you can use it this way. Watch this. This, and if you're down with Sport Formula, a lot of people are, you already know about this, single serving packets. And now me, I just tear this open, dump it right in my mouth, and just wash it down, or not. It says multivitamin, keto, and vegan multivitamin. So it's keto and vegan friendly. It's cooperative with those lifestyles. It's got all kind of stuff in it. It's got all your essential amino acids and electrolytes and natural B energy complex. But it also is lactose-free, pesticide-free, soy-free, GMO-free, non-GMO, gluten-free, raw nutrients, vegan, cold processed. I think it's a hell of a product, to tell you the truth. I've been using it for several years. No additives, no preservatives. Yeah, I think it's good shit. It also has digestive enzymes. So, it's perfectly designed, not only for athletes, but for what I do, for what we do. There's digestive enzymes, man. You need that shit. So anyway, the Sport Formula thing, like I told you, if you want to go get some Sport Formula, I know quite a few of you already use it, and you can probably jump in the comments and testify that, yeah, it's an awesome product. It says multivitamin on there. It's powdered. They used to have it in capsules as well. I prefer the powder. But it's so much more than just a multivitamin. It's so much more than that. But that's what I count on it to fulfill those needs with my micronutrients and then the digestive enzymes and everything else that's in there. It's just all extra icing on the cake for me. So that's that. Now, where are we at? What else we need to talk about? I don't want to get to the workout yet because I want to save it for a separate video. I don't really want to get to the supplements. I want to keep that as a separate video. That'll be a lot shorter video. Necessary supplements, I think, they're going to help you out. Of course, one of them is going to be Sport Formula. I guess that's about it for right now. If you guys have questions, if there's anything you're not clear about, if you're trying to put your diet together and you're running into some kind of issue that you need clarification or advice. I'm not saying that I'm the be all know all on the topic, but I'm pretty good. I don't know it all. Nobody knows it all. But I'm pretty good. If I don't know, I'll just try to tell you I don't know. You know that. You want to put questions in the comment section, or you want to email me, I'll email you back and answer your question as best as I can to help you try to stay on track. I want to get started on this thing this coming weekend. I'm going to start, and I'm going to video the workouts. I'm going to do the whole 9 yards like that. Like one brother suggested that maybe I should, wanted me to see if I would be willing to do sort of like a Rich Piana type of bigger by the day thing, which, like I've said, I'm not Rich Piana. Rich Piana, nobody's Rich Piana. Rich Piana's gone. There's not going to be anybody else like him for my entertainment, time that I spend. So it's not going to be, but I will video the workouts. We'll talk about what the workout's going to be. I'll video parts of the workouts for form's sake and demonstrative type of thing. Not the whole workout, because that would be just too long. And then we'll talk about it. And there are going to be other things too. I do think that feeder workouts have their place and have value. We're going to talk about that. And we're definitely going to talk about what we're eating. Follow along. Foods that I get, meals, stuff like that. I don't want it to be really too boring and too mundane. But don't expect it to be as exciting as Rich Piana's videos. I'm not Rich Piana, and I don't have the dedication and the time to be a guy like that, or a Cali Muscle, or any of these guys that are just grinders and just put out so much content. These guys are professionals at what they do, and I'm not. So anyway, that's what we got. That's where we're going. I want to get this thing activated this coming weekend. So get it ready, get it together. If there's something that you are craving that you must eat that's not going to be on your meal plan, then you better eat that shit. You better eat that shit and get that out of your system, because we're going to knuckle down, man. Some people, it's not going to be that difficult. Some people are going to say, oh, what's hard about this? Right? That's great. But other people, it is hard. Other people, it represents an enormous lifestyle change. It's a commitment that you want to stick to. And you know what? If you screw up, if you fall off the wagon, you got to get up and get back on. You can't undo what's already been done. So if you mess up, you eat something you shouldn't eat, then you're going to have to find another way to avoid that in the future. Get that shit out of the house. Throw it in the garbage. Just throw your money right in the trash. Whatever you paid for that shit, whatever you paid for that cake, or whatever you paid for that box of cupcakes, or whatever the hell it is, Twinkies, or whatever you paid for that quart of ice cream or half-gallon ice cream, whatever you got, just throw shit in the garbage. If you can't turn it down, if you can't turn your nose up to it, throw it in the garbage. Milk. You want your milk lactose-free and skim. So now look, if you're a skinnier guy and you can afford the calories, then that's what I don't recommend whole milk to anybody. But there are guys that can drink whole milk. There are guys that I know that drink whole milk and don't really get fat. That they can set aside a period of time. I'm trying to put some size on. I'm gonna utilize whole milk because they just need the calories along with the protein. So, whole milk bloats me. Lactose milk I don't want. Lactose, my opinion, and the opinion of many other people, lactose will help keep your skin thick. It's a sugar. I don't mess around with lactose. So, as far as the non-lactose milks or lactose-free milks, the only milk that I have ever found that is truly lactose-free, truly, I don't even think you're going to find trace elements of lactose in it, is Fairlife. Fairlife, yeah, I know they had controversy and a whole bunch of stuff going on with the way they treat their animals, and that's horrible, that's terrible. It's been a while now. They've come out with many assurances that no longer is in place. People have been fired, every other thing. But all in all, I'm sure that these animals that we consume and all this stuff, none of it's good for the animal. I'm definitely sure of that. Okay, if these animals had a choice, I don't think that they would want to be on our plate, and I don't think they want to be, constantly milked and all this other shit, and harvested. But the world is what it is, and there's nothing that comes close to Fairlife. There's nothing that comes close to Fairlife. It's super high quality, highly filtered, very clean, The reason that I know it's the most lactose-free of any milk that I know of that claims lactose-free is that people that can't digest lactose at all, people that have allergies to this kind of stuff, they can drink it. I know people that can't drink any other milk in the world, but they can drink the hell out of that Fairlife Skim. So, and again, if you're a skinny dude, you're underweight, go ahead and treat yourself, because the 2% chocolate is the best chocolate milk you'll ever have on the planet. You know, if you're, depending on how much of this shit you're going to consume. You know, I've been to the point where I've had 2 a day consistently for long periods of time when I've been big or bigger, and I will blend them together 50-50. I'll mix them, you know, a skim with a 2%, you know, fat-free with a 2%, so I can have that chocolate. The chocolate is so rich and chocolatey that I can split it up like that, and it still has a really good chocolate taste overall for all of it. But I'm going to be drinking only skim, and you know, you're going to have to make that judgment call where you fall out. Maybe you don't want milk at all. Maybe, you know, you can afford to drink milk with a higher fat content. I'm sticking with skim. But I would advise everybody, stay away from lactose if you can. It's a sugar. There's no, you know, it's a sugar. Anyway, that's it. You guys take care. Hope you're having a great day. I hope this has offered some kind of assistance or given you some ideas that you might be able to use, or get something positive and productive out of it. Email me, post in the comments, questions, whatever, and we'll keep getting it down and try to get more videos up, more of this covered, so that by the weekend, I'm going to be fired up and doing my thing. If you guys are going to join me, we're going to roll through this together, get your shit together. If you're having problems, again, email me or post in the comments. Have a great day.